What's good, y'all, man? We're back again with another video. Before we get into this video, I have two things to say. One, this is the last time you're going to see this setup in this room. Well, it's still going to be in this room as far as my videos, but I'm about to redecorate my home room literally right after this video. So the next video you're going to see is going to be a whole new decoration. Hopefully everything goes well. And the second thing I've seen is over 70% of y'all do not subscribe to me and y'all watch my videos. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and like the video, comment, share with your friends. Do all that stuff, man. We've been going crazy lately. Shout out to my boy Benzo again. Ever since these new thumbnails, my videos been getting a lot of traction. So shout out to him. Shout out to y'all for watching. Like I said, subscribe and let's get straight into this. So yesterday you guys seen a Bulls video, I believe. Like I've been working so hard this week. I don't remember. I even dropped 2 videos on Wednesday on accident. So I believe yesterday y'all seen a Bulls video. So today we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. So this past offseason they made the whole big trade for DeJounte Murray. And at that time I didn't really know how I felt about it because DeJounte is a guy that needs the ball a lot, and then he's also playing next to a person that needs the ball way more than he ever did in Trae Young. And I didn't really know how that fit would go, but then looking at the rest of the team, I also didn't know about this whole John Collins thing. John Collins was literally in trade rumors for the last 2-3 years, and especially in this offseason, it was at times where I just thought, okay, it was a for sure thing that he wasn't going to be back on his team. Same thing with Clint Capella. Clint Capella also had a lot of trade rumors this offseason, and we're in this season now, in the offseason. Well, not in the offseason, in training camp, and everybody's still here. The only person they really lost was Danilo Gallinari, and the other person they lost was Lou Williams. So they didn't really lose that much. But looking at this roster as a whole, it's kind of decent. It's kind of decent, especially when I'm looking at the starting lineup. Starting off at number 1, you still have Trae Young. You still have one of the top 15 players in the world. A lot of people might not feel like that, but like Trae Young, come on now. Give him his respect. It's a lot of guys I'm taking him over, and I'm seeing a lot of like Trae Young jaw debate. To me, it's not a conversation at all. I'm taking Trae Young 100% of the time, but just looking at him being able to carry an offense by himself to a top 5 ranking. He did that last year, and last year when you look at it, the reason why they were so bad, Clint Capella was in and out the lineup, Bogdan Bogdanovic was in and out the lineup, John Collins was in and out the lineup. Even DeAndre Hunter was in and out the lineup. Now, you still might get those things this year, but all these previews I'm doing is just me looking at this team solely healthy. So, if I'm looking at this team healthy with Trae Young, I don't see this team having a bad year like they had last year. Then you look at the new addition that they made. I think that new addition is better than a lot of people think. The one thing that they were missing last year was playmaking after Trae Young. And when you're looking at the point guard position off the bench, off the top of my brain, I don't think they really had. So you got a roster of Bogdan Bogdanovic. Armani Brooks, I'm pretty sure he's on a training camp deal. Same thing with Tony Brown. You still got Clint. You still got John Collins. Sharif Cooper's on the Cavs. He's on the training camp. You still got AJ Griffin. Aaron Wiggins, that's their backup point guard they signed. I remember that signing actually. But looking at this team is they're really top heavy. I'll give them that. They're really top heavy. And if I gave the Bulls slack for being top heavy, I gotta give this team for being top heavy, because when you're looking at this bench, you just got Bogdan and Onyeka Okongwu. Going back to my backup point guard talk, they don't really have that. Aaron Holiday is pretty decent, but when you're looking at their backup position, they don't have that. But I think with DeJounte Murray on the team, they still have that, because with elite backcourts are, you're always going to have one of them on the floor. Even J.B. Bickerstaff said it the other day. Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland will always be on the floor. Even with the Warriors, they always had that. You know they have that with the Suns. With this team, one of those guys are going to be on the floor, and that's going to help out this team a lot, because when it came to the playmaking off the bench, Onyeka Okongwu and Bogdan Bogdanovic, they were doing most of their stuff that they were doing on the offensive side by themselves, because they didn't really have a playmaker if they're not playing with Trae. This year, when it comes to their backup minutes, they're going to be playing a lot with DeJounte Murray, and that's something that I'm excited to see, and that's something I think is going to help out. And then we're looking at this defense, because I think that's also an underrated part in this defense. I think with the DeJounte Murray addition, they're going to have a good defense, because you have DeJounte, you have DeAndre Hunter. If you get John Collins locked in from the beginning of the year and he's healthy, because I feel like even at times last year, he just couldn't get his feet settled because he kept coming in and out, in and out. So if you get him playing a fully healthy season where he's not really going in and out, I expect him to be a decent defender. We all know how great of a shot blocker and a great of a paint protector that Clint Capella is. I expect this team off of face value, off the front five, I expect them to be a decent defense around Trae Young. And you can kind of hide Trae Young because you have multiple defenders that can guard different positions. And then in the post, you have elite post defenders. So I love their defense, but I also have one point where I think they go as far as DeAndre Hunter goes. What I mean by that is he is the X factor. He is the key. So I was having this talk earlier on Twitter with my friends in a group chat, and we were just having a DeAndre Hunter debate. And on my side, I felt like what we got from DeAndre Hunter last year, especially towards the end of last year, that's what we're gonna get going forward. And what we seen last year was a dude that was a 3-and-D wing, but he's what I call all the time a hybrid 3-and-D wing, where he was actually scoring for himself, getting his own buckets by himself. But then I talked to some guys that were actually Atlanta Hawks fans, and they were saying his ceiling is just a 3-and-D guy. And I don't know, let me know what y'all think, but I think like DeAndre Hunter has a lot to his game. And then I watched some solely ISO highlights, and he has a little decent bag, and a lot of that time he was getting to his bag, but I realized Trae Young wasn't on the floor, and that's how it might be this season. But when he wasn't playing with Trae Young, he was actually getting to his bag, setting up his own shots. And I think him taking that next step is when it's going to take this team to the next step, and especially on the offensive side. But when you look at the defensive side, he also has to take that next step because he has all the tools. I would say he's a decent defender right now. I wouldn't label him good, wouldn't label him great, but I would say he's a decent defender. For them to get better, he has to take that next step to be an elite defender. He's a long, big guy, can guard multiple positions, damn near can guard 1 through 4. And he has to take that next step for them to be good on defense. Same thing with John Collins. He has to take that next step on defense too. And he has to accept his role. He's always been a guy that wants a different role, wants more of a bigger role. He wants to be able to be a guy that can create for his own shots. But on this team, you have to be that pick and roll guy. You have to be that pick and pop guy. And you have to be the good defender on the other side. That's just how it is. Same thing with Clint Capella. He's accepted that even though he has nothing else to offer. Even if you got something to offer John Collins, you have to accept that role because that's going to take y'all to the next level. But then when we're looking at the bench, like I said, DeJounte's going to be getting a lot of backup point guard moments. So having him next to Jalen Johnson, next to Bogdanovic, Onyeka Okongwu, their bench unit is going to be really fun to watch because DeJounte, what he does is he's going to have you guys running, and that's something that they needed last year because who was running their point guard position last year off the bench? Fucking Lou Williams, his old ass. And it was a lot of Bogdan ISOs, a lot of Danilo Gallinari ISOs pull up in your face. This year you have an actual point guard to help you out off the bench, and that's what they're going to need. And the last thing I need from this team is for their coach to set a real defensive identity. You know Trae, he got you in the offense. You don't really have to do nothing. Trae is this generational offensive talent. You don't have to do nothing. But the coach has to set an identity on defense for this team to take it to the next level because they have all the talent. They just have to take it there. I'm expecting a big year from Jalen Johnson. Not a big year, but he really didn't do shit last year. So even him jumping up to like 6 points, that's a big year for him. And I always loved his defense too. He's going to help out with that defensive side. Same thing with AJ Griffin. I'm expecting a decent year for him. And I think they're going to kind of use him like they kind of use Cam Reddish when he was there as a spot-up shooter. And the thing between Cam Reddish and AJ Griffin is he's going to accept being a spot-up shooter. Cam Reddish knew he was way more than that, so he couldn't accept that role. AJ Griffin, no, that's his role coming into the league. He played that role in college, so he shouldn't have no problem playing it in the NBA. And when looking at the ceiling for this team, like I want to rate this in tiers. So I was talking to my friends about this earlier, like tiers of the East too. So my tiers of the East, tier 1, obviously, Boston and the Bucks. I don't think Ime being gone is going to hurt them that much to where they're still not dominant. I think they're still one of the best defenses we've ever seen. So I'm going to have them 1 along with the Bucks. They have the best player. Tier 2, I would have the 76ers, the Nets, and the Cavs. And that's not biased. I just think the addition of Donovan Mitchell, how dominant we were without him, especially on the defensive side, that we add something that we needed was was a scorer that could take the ball out of Darius' hands and let him really play make. That's what he wants to do. You add a pure scorer, I think that's going to take us to the next level where we can fuck with them guys. I don't think we can beat any of the guys above us. That's why I named us last in that group. I don't think we can beat them in the playoff series. Nets probably, but they have KD. I don't think we can beat them in the playoff series. But I think we are on that tier because the guys below us, I would say the Hawks, the Raptors, and the Bulls. And I think we wash all those teams. So I will put the Hawks in tier 3 with the Raptors and the Bulls, and I think they're the best at that tier. Oh, and I forgot the Heat. I think we also can beat the Heat. I think we can beat the Heat. I don't know for sure if I would say we will beat the Heat, but I think we can beat the Heat. I will put them actually in tier 2 just because they're veterans and they know they've been in playoff moments. So when it comes to the playoffs, I will put them right above us. I'll put them above us, even though I think we can beat them. I'll put them above us. But in tier 3, we have the Hawks, the Raptors, and the Bulls, and I think the Hawks are the best team by far because they have everything. They have everything. I think their defense is going to be really decent this year. And offense, like I said, the reason why I spent 1 minute talking about Trae Young, like, what the fuck do I have to say? He's top 5 offense by himself. It's nothing really else I have to say. So, let me know how y'all think I did about with this video and this breakdown. Let me know if you want me to do any more. Content's going to keep dropping. I'm loving this shit, bro. And y'all giving me a lot of motivation to keep doing it because y'all giving me a lot of love. So, shout out to y'all. Be back tomorrow with another video and a new setup. Peace out.